Brother Harold is quite an accomplished magician. He has gone to classes several times to study magic and has spent a number of dollars, in hundreds of dollars probably, using or purchasing tools to use to teach kids. And he'll probably explain to you about what magic really is. Some people think there's a bad thing about magic, but he'll probably explain to you what it really is. And he's going to come and just minister to you, and then I'm going to come before we close the service because I have some things I'd like to share with you. But right now, make Brother Harold welcome, would you? Okay, we're going to sing a song.
We're going to sing one more chorus. This is one of the favorite choruses we sing in children's church when I get ready for the kids to settle down and get quiet. When it gets time for our lesson, we sing this chorus. This is one we like a whole lot. It's Banner Over Me Is Love. Sing it with the voice, girls. Let's sing it. I'm his child, and he's my father. His banner over me is love. I'm his child, and he's my father. His banner over me is love. I'm his child, and he's my father. His banner over me is love. His banner over me is love. He lifts me up to heavenly places. His banner over me is love. He lifts me up to heavenly places. His banner over me is love. He lifts me up to heavenly places. His banner over me is love. His banner over me is love. There's one way of peace through the power of the cross. His banner over me is love. There's one way of peace through the power of the cross. His banner over me is love. There's one way of peace through the power of the cross. His banner over me is love. His banner over me is love. And I praise Him, and He blesses me. His banner over me is love. And I praise Him, and He blesses me. There we go. Can you hear me? Now we got to roll with it. We like to do a lot of gospel illustration for our boys and girls because it helps to reinforce the lesson. It helps to get the message into their hearts. And so we do a lot of different types of illustrations. But one of the most effective ways that I've found to help illustrate the message that I like to, that the Lord has for us to bring, is through the use of gospel magic. As Pastor Mark said, some people think, oh, this is the boo, this is bad. I tell the boys and girls from the start that there's no such thing as magic. Everything is a trick. I happen to know the secret to it. I hope you don't. Sometimes you do before I get through, but that's because I mess up. But nevertheless, these are no more than just objects, illustrations that we use to illustrate the gospel. And Jesus Christ Himself used illustrations many times to illustrate His message. And so we hope this morning that you get something from our message. If you are just enthralled by wondering how did He do that, then I've failed. But if you remember the message, you remember what God has for us, then our purpose has been fulfilled. Let's start off with, I like to do some rope trick. I like to work with rope because when I'm working with rope, nobody can accuse me of using mirrors and trap doors. Besides that, ropes are cheaper than mirrors and trap doors. And so, you might say that I'm a cheap magician sometimes. I have here a piece of rope that I'd like to use to illustrate this morning. That was my best joke, boys and girls. If you don't laugh then, I'm in trouble. Piece of rope that I'd like to illustrate how that God created us. He created us perfect, without blemish. He created us holy. This is the way that God intended for us to be. But you know, something happened because of this. Sin came into the world. And you know what sin always does when it comes into the world? When it comes into our lives? Good sister. It severs our relationship with God. And now then, where we were at one time, we were whole. We were in one accord. Now then, we see our life is all knotted. Since that time that sin has entered, man has tried in many ways to come to God. But he always wants to come on his terms instead of God's terms. And so we wind up with still more knots, and you know, sin in the end produces death. And we try many ways to say, well, I'm good enough. If I live a good, decent life, well then, surely God will let me in. Then we wind up more, our life knotted. The devil, he likes to keep us bound. He wants us bound. And so we see that in the end, oh, I got to get some scissors. I see why my head is because it's not very good. In the end, we see our life is worse than it was. The more we try, the more we strive, the more we work, we get in a mess. Sometimes we'll say, well, I'll turn over a new leaf. And you know, I'll make a new resolution. We'll trim up a little bit of our life. We say, well, now, this is not as bad as this one. It's not so bad. This little sin is not too bad. Surely the Lord let me in. But you know what? God used sin a lot. Because he hates all the sin. And he's using the sin. And so because he hates sin, he sent his Son, Jesus Christ, to the cross. And there on the cross, Jesus died that we might shed our sins. Our life might be set free, we might be restored.